the effects of carbon emissions and the likes. So we have a community which we call K Masterpiece Community. In that community, we have farmers, people who are doing agriculture, small horticulture, things like mushroom farming, fish farming. We also have entrepreneurs that are outside the agriculture industry. That includes people in things like tech, like the guy who actually helps us do engineering. What we did is we helped him do his education, in turn also give him back to the community, the K Masterpiece community, through what he has learned. So we also promote youth initiatives to empower them. Because in Africa, opportunities are more of a privilege. Because our economies are small, we are still developing. So the way we handle things, the way we open up opportunities, at times it's restricted because of the information and the phase of development, unlike the other side, which is the developed world. So what we are doing is, in relating with Inga and yourself, we are hoping to tap into the developed aspect where the world is, so that we don't lay back and always be behind. We come out sort of out of the cave in the new world. So we are hoping to learn a lot and push climate change initiatives as much as possible, both in Morewa and Zimbabwe itself. So I've been filming a number of films. We have given them to Inga so that she can show the world what is there in Zimbabwe. Because you find that we used to have a lot of animals, but over the years, a lot of poaching has been happening. Like in the area of elephants, lots of elephants have been lost because of the conservation aspect, which has been lagging behind. There's poor tracking, at times poor resources. We're doing the best we can, and we hope the World Climate School is a bigger step in promoting that. Yeah, I think in summary, that's who I am, and that is K Masterpiece.
Yeah, maybe you can give the floor also to Kuda and to explain the connection to music in Greece. So David is a music, radio, theater performance, and also educated as a doctor, physical or like a doctor, like a health doctor from the medicine. But I but he likes to get the overview of also the connection to Greece, because he already asked me if I could get that live in a partnership. Okay, is Kuda there, or is it only you?
Kuda will be joining us, I think, in a moment. He's just attending to someone.
Yeah, but maybe you can explain something on the music side as well. All
right. From the music side, Morewa is privileged to be the center of what is called the culture center. This is the only and the first culture center in Zimbabwe. Back in the days, it was used for culture music, traditional music, which is termed mbende. So what we have done now is the K Masterpiece community. We've tried to blend in the mbende music into rock. So there is actually a K Masterpiece band. He's got a couple of albums. He's been there since around 2012. It's been going on.
How long, sorry?
From 2012.
Okay.
2012, yeah. So they've done about 2 songs concerning climate change, concerning the Green Deal. Then also we have Zero. Zero is a son to Kuda, and he is based in Greece. So he's part of the Vegas band. So what we try to do is, because of the impact they've done already, we decided to tap into their influence and maybe use that to get the message out there that we need to take action towards climate change initiatives. So we have been working together with Zero and the Vegas band in order to push towards that. On this side, we are promoting upcoming artists and also trying to persuade them to put the message of climate change within their music, within their art. That includes sculptures, painters. What has happened with this generation now, they have sort of digressed from that music. So we're trying to get into what they now listen to and find a way to blend the two, maintain the culture, promote the current culture.
Yeah. So thank you so much, David. Maybe you can fill in and present yourself as brief as you can for your long life history.
I've been working over the last 6 months, setting up a home multimedia studio. We call it a home studio, and basically for being able to run your own TV station, podcasting station from home, with the aim originally a couple of years ago of connecting community centers, arts, cultural centers, community centers, so that people could come in and have discussions, they could play music, they could watch films together, and they can share this material. Kind of a cinema of the future type idea, really, interactive cinema of the future. And my interest in that subject and that idea comes from my interest in how people govern themselves, so how they come together, how they discuss, how they vote, how they decide. So I got very interested in software for voting and for currencies, for like blockchain currencies, community currencies, and how people can kind of vote together, decide together, work together, co-create together, right? So this spans political, social, environmental issues, as well as art, culture, creative issues. I'm kind of in between the two. And I see the role of storytelling linked to the debate with a community and with artists helping to tell those stories, to bring people to those stories, to those venues, to explain them like emotionally as well as in the mind, at the core of, if you like, the problem of the world. If we get better and more effective, not just better ways to talk and dialogue and communication, but robust in kind of law, in power, in money, in decision making, no corruption, or very hard to have corruption there. That's kind of my passion, if you like. And so it's a little bit like one step back from the direct pressing issues of, let's say, I don't know, the law or economy or environment. It's saying we first of all have to improve the way that we come together to decide. And it's only when we get that right that we can address environmental issues. But they come together. It's no point having an abstract way of communicating and voting and deciding. It's too philosophical unless there's a real pressing need, something that needs changing, a cause, a passion. And obviously, like, as a human being, like anyone else, there are things that concern me, and environment is definitely one of those, right? So the loss of biodiversity in the environment, as a scientist, it's interesting to me. It's not right here in my face, in my life right now, but I believe it's very important for my children and my children's children to address that problem, right? And it's right here now. So, and just from a practical point of view, I think we can have this amazing global conversation coming up with the conferences, and we can bring artists, but we can also look at laws and how we change the way that money works so that it has better environmental consequences, how innovation works, and how we use media and so on. In any case, maybe I go on too long about that, but I just sharing where I'm coming from.
Yes. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I'd like you to just impress Haig up with your home-based studio and the TV setup. So the screen behind you have to explain what you see, and the green screen and all these things as well.
On screen here, what you can see is the effect of like green screen using this little small digital mixer, which is this new low-cost mixer by Blackmagic that's come out in the last 6 months, say. And that brings the power of a full television studio to people's homes. Yeah, so it costs between, let's say, $300 to $800, depending which model you get, and it basically has 4 live camera feeds in. It has chroma key and all the buttons. And so what I'm doing here is I've set up on my desk here in a spare bedroom in my flat while we're locked in 3 monitors, and I'm building 2 studios in my flat that are connected to each other, so I can have musicians and academics coming here and interviewing them, and podcasting and rock, like many people are kind of doing in this area of Zoom, with the kind of Zoom conferences as well, but setting it up as a multimedia production center. This involves quite a lot of things. So it involves software, making free and reviewing the best software that you can use to do the video editing and the live mixing, and bringing in things like you're seeing on the screen here, which is the software that you might want to bring in on screen. So here I can start writing and talking, and I can use the kind of green screen stuff to point at what's going on. And I do that by having behind me a green screen, and I'm using actually disco lights, like rock and roll lights, which are using DMX input, so that I can control them, so that they come up the wall here and give a good color light for the green screen effect. And also in the flat here, I'm setting up here a performance space with using a combination. Some places I'm using paint, and some places like the material here to make a proper place where you can do real green screen performance. In here, in the environmental side, I'm doing things with LED grow lights, so that I can bring in the energy stories about the energy cost of lights aren't so good here, but and the sound might come out, disconnect here a bit. I'm just going to also paint all.
And this is the green screen that you can have as a background for any kind of, yeah.
I have a second mixer here. Maybe if I show you can outside.
That is a camera on his balcony zooming out on this train station. So that's his train station. So he's experimenting on with camera that he has, old camera. So this is London Central Station. So absolutely we can connect with Londoners or Zimbabweans in London. So we connect this storytelling from Zimbabwe to London, to Oslo, to the Zimbabwean diaspora in a multimedia setup. And as you can see, it's a home-based multimedia studio. So it's a green studio with green walls, and he can do the musical, the playing, having cool small cameras. So with filling up with the desire of Kuda to say that what can we ship and what kind of cameras, what kind of mobile phones can we collect and send to you. So now he's back in his messy kitchen, as you can see.
I'm turning my coffee. My coffee was burning.
Yes. So he's experimenting with children's plays and, you know, this green screen and how we can have a mixer from the different cameras without having the ecosystem. So he's really good in sound. And what the idea is that to have this this green wiki, so you write, but at the same time you have like you document immediately as you have a Zoom call on a specific topic of animals in Zimbabwe, partnership between Norway and Zimbabwe, etc. So the Kuda, the gentleman in the red t-shirt, David, that's my communication partner and in Zimbabwe, who's been energizing all these things to happen.
Hi, Guda. Welcome to my home in London here.
So I think this the green paint and this way of using this mixer, I really believe that you can put up this green studio in Zimbabwe, in Murewa, and that David can, on a technical aspect, can help. But most important thing is actually the content and how we can assist from a team in London, and as you can see, home-based studio.
We're looking at really what new opportunities there are, not and being halfway in between, if you like, the normal commercial world of television and music, and the new opportunities with mobile phones, and how people now everywhere are consuming music, culture, films, and also using the cameras, the amazing cameras that are in these mobile phones. And that's all around the world. So, for instance, in this home studio that I just did a very quick, and because it's so early, I haven't set it up properly, and it's still being built. And bad demo of what I'm building here. It's very much focused on the ability to use things like older cameras that you might have hanging around, and that if you have some friends and they have mobile phones, they can come in here and every mobile phone turns into a camera. And nowadays, with the high-end mobile phone, you've got 4K cameras, really good, amazing lenses in these phones, compared with the expensive camera equipment you would have had to buy before, which has only got that one purpose. Now, if you're a bunch of students in school, you could get 3 or 4 of your friends to come round who have a smartphone, and use that camera and use it to live stream and live record what's going on. You can also use the cheap web cameras, and we've been experimenting things with like digital microscopes, which are from China for $15, but you can do amazing visuals with that and storytelling. So how you can recycle, use old camcorders with HDMI output, how you can use modern phones, and how you can mix them together. And that little box that I showed you enables you to mix all of those into even quite an old computer. You don't need a super fast computer because it's doing all the video processing by itself. And so that makes it affordable in many ways. You can build amazing sets yourself just by using nature, how you frame what you see, using paint, using paper, using the different forms of light. You can bring together in that set that you build in your flat, your school, your cafe. You can bring that together with a community where various people have different cameras and microphones, and then you can tell these new forms of really amazing high quality story. And most importantly, you can connect those. So you get another box, it's about $250, which has just come out literally this last week, which will connect the studios together in real time in 4K. So that means there could be a studio in New York, but this could just be some kids or a school, at home, a home studio, or it could be in a radio station or a TV station, and you can connect to them in 4K in real time, high quality video. Yeah. And you can record locally, and that way we can start an international co-production where we have stories of things that are happening in different parts of the world. We bring them together, and then we look together where we can take them to market. Okay, so that way we bridge this space of doing your own home video, which you've always been able to do since the 1970s, right? With a real commercially viable new form of TV station. And then we have to choose amazing stories. So where do we get the stories from? Well, one of the stories we can get is how for instance, what's happening in your community that is also related to stories elsewhere in the world, like I don't know, the crisis of governance or democracy or climate change. You'll have people in America, people in Europe, people in Asia who are interested in this story. So you can join forces on that, and you also have the technology to be able to do that at low cost in a really good way, and that connection also enables us to turn that storytelling into action in ways it wasn't before, because you have real people on the ground in communities who are now connected globally with the storytelling, and maybe with people who can now donate finance to projects that are happening in those communities. So it's trying to get that connection going really well. What we can talk about is really, that's background really to what we're building together, and it's the beginning of a journey. Some of these boxes and some of this process have really just come out this last year to make it very affordable. It's what I'm showing you now. It might be fully ready in a year's time or something like that. It's good enough now to kind of start using, like what I'm showing here on the screen. It's kind of like you can do some teaching and what have you, but I haven't made all the software that you could use for, I don't know, a music video or the form of storytelling I want to do. So I want to get the visuals, and I'm working with some local musicians and artists here. But that's, again, everyone's got their busy lives, and we're putting the project together. And I want to form a cooperative of people and little businesses around the world, right? Where we say, hey, we'll work together to produce this, and we will co-own this network that we're building, and to use the technology itself to tell the story and attract more people to join.
Yeah.
And
well, David,
our initial focus is to do it around.
Yeah. I'm so just to comment and to stop you, to assist you to stop. I think that David, what you're explaining here, and I hope that Haig and Kuda listening well, that you're saying that what we're trying to do now, Haig, is that David's intention is to bring us together, and we can own this together as a emerging new garage multimedia studio, a globally studio. So you're invited to be part of this, and I trust David's intention in this global democracy way, that this is not going to be a traditional London-based rich white story, but it's going to be really together and a collective intention.
And that's kind of from a heart moral point of view, but it's also smart business.
It's smart business.
The stories become more interesting when we have a really good brand and a really good storytelling around it. Yeah. So through this connection, like me doing another studio here or another band thing in London is okay, but it's not so interesting. If I do the same story and I'm connecting to you in Zimbabwe, some people in Japan, and this strange place in Norway, and we're doing something together, then it's maybe twice as interesting. And all we have to do is get the quality good. The costs are low, the people are amazing, the story's there, but we need to get the quality of what we produce together in this technology high quality, and that takes practice and working and learning together. So what I want to do is set up this learning project, this way where we build together, we learn together, and we regularly podcast this material out, so that kind of in a year's time or something like that, we really have a professional, slick production, which me personally, I want to earn my livelihood from this as well, and I would hope that everyone else can also be able to use this to grow their own work, their own income, their own sustainable businesses where they are, and we all benefit by connecting to each other.
So any question from your side, Hey, I'm sure
Okay.
you're like thrilled or you're surprised or it's a lot of a lot of information.
Inga,
Yes.
I think, yeah, the good part of this, I was really listening to David, and I go with him. I think we best got some questions to ask David. I was listening to what you were saying, and I was quite pleased by your work. I'm the one who was currently doing the videos beside Zimbabwe. So I think I'll learn a lot from your expertise because of listening to your explanation, especially with the background. It's quite a challenge, right? Like here in Zimbabwe, we don't have good places for studios, of which I believe we'll be using like green cloth a lot. And I do believe that if we keep on talking and chatting, I'll learn a lot from you and we'll produce one of the best videos. And whatever we do as a project and as a team, I think with your exposure and your experience, it will actually help us to go somewhere. And all the projects that are going to be done for Green will relate them to the world in a very good way. But I was quite impressed by the description that you gave me about your equipment, of which I do believe that if you feel like you want to purchase equipment, I think you're the best person who can actually guide us to each and every step that we're going to go through, because we wouldn't want to buy something and it will be of no use. So I really appreciated what you were saying. I learned a lot from you, and I hope that in the near future we'll learn. But what I did, I studied sound engineering, and then I also did computer science. So because of my background in computer science and sound engineering, I ended up also have to do video editing. So sometimes, like when you do your recording for video, you not only do sound, you also need video footage sometimes. So I started to do video by default.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning, but I think I'm catching up. But I think with a person like you, to actually increase my rate of learning. I hope you also rate of learning. I thank you very much for what you shared with me. I appreciate it.
No, it's great to meet you. And what you said made me think of this other important aspect. It's like, each of us has an amazing amount of like expertise that the other does not have. Yeah. So for this sort of production to work, for instance, we need the local knowledge, right, as well, right? Like if we were to have to work together to produce a video, we need to know, you need to know like what equipment I have, what the skills that I have. I need to know what equipment you have, what skills you have. I need to know about your local context. And we need to have a way of swapping that information and taking the best skills from both places and connecting them. All that local information, that local knowledge, also then requires to be built up. We need to improve our skills. Maybe I find that you know more about video editing than I know, right? So I specialize on something else, and you start to learn more and more about video editing. But maybe I know that this video editing software that used to be really good, now there's a free version which is better for your context and what have you, and so we swap that information. The wiki and the information system that maybe we get a time on to moving on to now is a software which allows everyone to document and create their own information in their own context. And you basically can fork and copy that information just by clicking a button to your own writing space, your own server actually that you're running. And this kind of server runs at the heart of your studio, your community TV station, if you like. And that gives a great platform for learning. If you want to learn about software, about databases, about modern technology, you can access that there, and you can put your own questions, your own research into that. Or if you want to learn about camera work, filmmaking and storytelling, you could so you can use that for the educational aspect, and to keep your it's like the brain of the television studio or the multimedia studio that you're building, and we connect these, sharing the knowledge and the information, and teaching each other what we need to learn to make the stories that we're working on, the music, the videos, the writing, the research, the academic research, right? So the unique nature of this software is not that we're all working on the same, I don't know, website or the same document, but each of us has our own documents that only we can write on, that therefore are all about us and our local context and our local knowledge, and then we connect them very easily globally. But that's very unusual architecture. It's very modern new stuff, and we will show that. And one of the really interesting things to start using it as is like to use it in, let's say, the environmental knowledge, right? Where we can interview people, we can store the audio and the videos in this kind of distributed archive, which will make it very easy for you to, if you want to produce a video, to say, oh, I take this clip, I take this clip, I take this clip, I'll mix them together, and then I can edit them, and then I can put that out. But you can take clips from information, that from Norway, from Europe, from the other places around the world, and you can bring them together very easily. And it's getting that information learning architecture right, and choosing a good initial story to tell that, which brings your background, let's say, in computer science and audio engineering and video. That's kind of, you need to know a little bit of everything to be able to put this kind of project together. And then you need to be able to solder and use your cables and put them together.
So I will share the screen and go to the Green Wiki. So this is the Green Deal Wiki. And I posted, like, what if we do, I call it, as you probably seen, I call it the Global Impact Playground. I have this connection that we started this summer with the river and some basic link, or I would say.
Inga, just a
Yeah.
minute. Are you able to record this tutorial?
I am recording it, and I was going to ask David and you how I can share it with you so you can cut it in pieces and use part of it. So I will ask David
Okay.
to upload to have a file that you can take this multimedia recording.
How do we record it from this side?
I will make a shared file so you can have this 2 hour all the documents or all the everything.
Right.
All right.
That is fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So this is I call it the mission possible, and you know that's because of I'm doing the opposite as Mr. Tom Impossible, Tom Cruise Impossible. And so this is the starting point, or this and this is the Build Back Better, the Green Deal. But what we do is that in front of this Green Deal we can write, I already wrote Zimbabwe, but we can write Green Zimbabwe. We can use your name, Haig Coleman. Can you see this? Can you see it, Haig?
Yeah.
Do you have a computer where do you have a password to claim your name?
We're actually using the one, that's the computer we're using for this room.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So maybe it's a little bit difficult. I will write Green Studio, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Green. What do you think, David? Can we work on the Green Studio or Green Multimedia Studio?
What about Green Multimedia Studio?
Huh?
What about Green Multimedia?
Okay.
What's your suggestion, David? The Green?
It's for the domain names. It's always good to choose short names, and you've already got Green Deal in the URL. So I would choose one word that's short. So it could be studio.greendeal.wiki.
Studio.
Yeah, and then you just want to keep it so that you can remember it really quickly. It says as much as it can, and it's as short. So if people have to type it, it doesn't take a long time. Yeah. And this is just a demo, so we're creating a whole new site here. So bang, there's the site.
There's the site.
Blank site.
Okay, right? What you will do, Haig, is to, instead of studio, you write your name. Okay.
So why don't we do that now? Just show it. Just creating a new tab, Haig.greendeal. Keep that one. Just keep that open. We can come back to that and just do a new tab.
All right.
Completely new tab. Yeah.
Then
we can show the two.
Haig.greendeal.wiki. And I will
left it open. Yeah.
I'll recommend you to use your full name so you get your own identity.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here is your page, and I'm not going to touch it because then I will be you.
Yeah. So, but you can maybe.
So I will show. So when this is happening, Haig, this, as you see, the format is like very slim, and it's organized this to be able to be on a mobile phone.
All right.
And here in the bottom you see a small beautiful lock. So we unlock the page. So then I'll claim that this is me and my domain.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you like to comment, David?
I'm just testing something. So no, I will in a second when I've got my coffee because I'm still half asleep.
Yeah. So I will go back to the other one, the federated wiki of the studio. So I will do open that one with
Actually,
the yellow.
I do have a comment, right? Because you don't know this, Inga, right?
Yeah.
Let's leave both these ones open. So we've got Studio and we've got Haig.greendeal.wiki. So don't log in. Just click on the wiki button there to make it editable. Next to the padlock down the bottom, the wiki word.
But yes. I need to log in with my Google name.
No, just click on the wiki word.
Okay.
Yes. Right. And now you can edit. So you go ahead, and anyone can edit now. So it hasn't been claimed. So Haig could actually go to this site and start editing. And I can edit in it. All right. So just demo how you write and edit. So you can double click on anything. You just keep talking now. I'll just say that while I'm grabbing my coffee.
Okay. And you know this Control Shift, Haig, on the yeah. So I'll go back. So I go to the text, and I just double click. This is a pilot, and I partnership of Haig, Buddha, David, and Im. Okay, Control S. Now the story is created.
Okay.
So it is a little bit nitty-gritty to learn, but as soon as we can learn it, you can multiply all your writings in many ways. And that's why I'm saying that, as we agreed on, to have this 3-day sprint. So in 1, 2, 3 days, you will be actually able to navigate yourself.
Okay, so let's take an example. Which one?
Anyone, just take anyone.
Okay, so what I can do here, let me just open up a few videos. There's one video. Let's take maybe this video. And let's say we want to bring this video in. Here I've got a a quick site I created called music.greendeal.wiki. And what you can just do is take any URL like this, you drag it over, and then you just drop it onto the site, and now the video is there. And now we can start writing about this. You know,
Murewa Green Studio, Zimbabwe. Multimedia Studio, maybe.
And I don't know if I spelt it right, but the beauty is you can come, like there's a wrong capital there, you know, you can now go to this site and start editing it and writing. Like I've made some mistakes already. We can also do things like take like, can you spell Moreva for me? Maybe there's M-O M-U-R-E-V-A.
It's M-U-R-E.
U-R-E.
W-A.
Morawa. Okay, Morewa.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So it's a township and district in Zimbabwe, right? That's what I have here. So I can now do things like the following, which I'm going to do. I want to bring that information in. And the way that I do that is with a particular tool that I'm going to just grab from here. This will all be maybe a little bit confusing, but I'll explain it as we learn. So I'm going to take this information here, and I'm going to bring that in, that Wikipedia article. I like that. So we have Morewa, we have a video now. And I'm beginning to collect, maybe I want this other video here as well. That one, this one looks good as well. I bring that in. Okay. Oh no, that one we already have. So I'm going to choose the other video here. And you can drag things and move them around. So we've already brought that one in, but not this one. I now have, I want to bring in some information from Ingometa's site. So Ingometa here is got her own site, completely different URL, completely different site, her own site. You say, I'm working with Ingometa, I want to bring her information into this site that we're working on. So I'm now got these 3 pages. This one actually has got this blue color around it. It means that it's still on Ingometa's site. So you want to make it your own. So you fork it. So it's now on your site. And you have now these 3 pages that we've quickly created with a couple of videos, some information from Wikipedia about the township of Morewa. We can also bring in, for instance,
Google
about
Molde Jazz.
Okay, so let's search Wikipedia for Molde Jazz. I spelt it wrong. Molda, is it A?
Molde. Yeah, it's A.
E.
Yeah, E. Molde.
Oh, E or A?
A. No, A, B, C, D, E. It's E.
Okay. Excuse me. Molde Jazz Festival, let's say. Okay. So here we have a page on Molde Jazz Festival. We also have Molde with an E here, yes, as the town. So we have a couple of pages. So I'm going to bring in this article here about Molde Jazz Festival. Hang on a minute, excuse me. Because I haven't set this up, it's a little bit confusing. I need that here. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to fork this page actually.
Thank you, David. It's going fast, I know, but you can see how fast it is, how you can build stories in multimedia.
So here's Molde Jazz. I bring that in, and now I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so that we can see what's going on. And we have now a few pages, and we building a website. which is also like a archive or a database of all the little videos and film clips. For instance, I was just writing about this amazing story here, which I'm going to bring over there as well, so you can see what's happening, which is from Colombia, and is this crazy mayor of this town who did these little mime performances to reduce the crime and traffic calming in his city by 70% within 2 years. So he did this crazy kind of mime performance where he changed the way the police worked. And this is an old video, so it's low quality. Maybe just jump to where you see the mime artists and how they work with the police, with the cars and the traffics.
So David, so going back to that Green Wiki, this is music. What's the name of that? Can you type that this thing in the screen so we can remember it? So if we write music, Green Deal.
So I can edit this now and say, okay, let's link this, and I make a link activity to Mulder Jazz. I don't know, etc., and save that. I'm going to show you it a bit bigger so that we can see what's happening here.
So it's very easy to make these hyperlinks, Heg. So it's like here.
So you can just take any word, and when you edit, let's say I get rid of this here, and I put 2 brackets and close the brackets, it becomes a link.
Brackets around one name will get a blue color, and that is hypertext. So that connects to the next card. So
here I've now started to build this site with all this information, and I can drag things from one page to another if we want. You know, this video, maybe I want it over here. You know, you start making it your own. And the thing is now, this would be, if you went online, you could claim this site by unlocking it and making it your own. Only you can then write on that. So you can put your own research, your own videos, your own music on. Ingametta has her own site, but it's very easy to go to someone else's site, find something like, you know, this page that you like, that's really interesting, bring it in, click, it's now on your site, and now you can edit it and make it your own, right?
David, since this is the first introduction, I think you have to explain to Haig and the Zimbabwean team that what is this wiki compared to the other wiki, and who is Ward Cunningham, because this is maybe interesting to know the history of why is this wiki cool. Or
okay, so this is Ward Cunningham. This is his Wikipedia page. In fact, let's bring that into Wiki.
So when you take this small square icon in these beautiful different colors, and you lock it with the cursors and drag it up to the page, it will be understanding this, and it goes by itself, Haig.
So this guy here is Ward Cunningham, and he's the guy who invented the first ever wiki. He's an American guy. He's a friend of mine now. So he invented the first wiki that then became Wikipedia, and he's out in America. He's kind of retired, and he created this new wiki about 6 years ago to fix some of the problems of the original wiki. So the problem with the original wiki is it's now become so big and so famous that you can't really make it your own. You can't write your own information into it. If you try, you can edit a little bit and maybe you change 2 or 3 words. Maybe someone likes that or don't like that, they change it. But it's hard to use in a school, or it's hard to use, let's say, if you just want to create a project about your town, your city, or your music, or what have you. So he created this new architecture where everyone has their own wiki and their own writing space, but you can bring it together. And he called that federated wiki, smallest federated wiki. We just call it wiki now. You can actually run the software just on your on open source hardware, on PC, on Linux, on Mac. It doesn't matter, on your own, even on these little super cheap computers. And it's not on the internet, but you can, so for instance, if you have bad internet connection, you can actually be working and collecting and organizing your archive. And then when the internet's good, you can just one click and it's saved onto someone else's website. Or so new ways of sharing this knowledge between places. So we're beginning to, or we're like quite a good way along now to creating like a new archive really about environmental information, so that's so this Green Deal wiki is, people and communities around the world collecting that information about their local environmental stories and archiving them and connecting that to the global story, and building up a new kind of structure for sharing that knowledge in a way that's practical, that you can action in your local communities as well. And the media side, the music and the storytelling in that environment is like really central. So that's because this is this is more like the software we're showing you, this wiki, is not really for consumers who just want to see the story. That's like YouTube. That's what we already have. This is really for producers and researchers and writers and artists who are making a story, and they want access to an archive of all this information. They want to bring this video or this sound in, or a place to store and organize the work that they're working on, this film they're making or this research project they're making. And they can then collaborate more easily with other people, create then maybe the film and the video, and that goes out on the normal channels, if you like. So this is more of a new way of producing storytelling together, and it's for artists, producers, teachers, and storytellers more. Although it's not too hard, anyone can really learn it. So if you're a student at you're 10 years old or 12 years old and you want to learn and you want to research and you want to create, you can also do this. But it is a little bit, it's not really consumer facing. It's a little bit advanced. You have to think quite hard to use it. The phrase that, in fact, Ward uses to describe it is it's easy, like riding a bicycle is easy. Once you've learned how to do it, you don't have to think about it and you do it. But it does take you a few days to learn how to do, and you have to be motivated to do it. So it's not something that you would just show anyone and they say, yeah, I'm going to use it. If you have this need to create and organize your own stories, your own information, and you want to share it with other people and work in this way, this international kind of co-production way, then it's really useful. But it is something where really the only way to learn it is to learn it together. And that's why if we do a sprint and people start writing and researching, and you have a question, you ask the question, and we all can get on writing, and I can get on working, and we just connect like this. Within like 2-3 days, you will be empowered to have your own site, your own information, be able to put your own videos, your own media up there, and we will be doing the same. And then we have a much stronger basis to come together and produce something together.
Thank you, David. Could you please jump into the podcast, radio, sound search, so they can, since we have the sound engineers there, so we can have the real multimedia. Just jump so we can see how fast it is.
Okay, so this is another site, a project that I call Pod Club. It's like a club for people who are interested in podcasts. It's like a book club where people come together, and instead of sharing a book and meeting and talking about the book that they've read, we take it in turns to share, I don't know, a YouTube video, a podcast, a TED talk, and you say, I come across this amazing thing. I want you all to look at it this week, write something about it, then we come together and talk about it. So you could have a pod club about the impact of climate change on your local community, or you could have one about, I don't know, some particular ant that you're really interested in, or you could do it about a particular form of music or film that you really like. So this is ways of coming together. In any case, because of this project Pod Club, I wanted to be able to create some tools that made it easy for you to bring podcasts, find podcasts, and bring podcasts into this environment. So the nice thing about this software is you're part of a community in which, if you have a need, you can drop in, it's an open call, and say, I'd really like this tool, and maybe someone will build that tool. And in fact, if you have someone who's interested in software, they don't have to write too much code, and they can extend it, because every single paragraph is created by a software plugin, which you can just write yourself in JavaScript. So I wrote this one about how you find podcasts. So I'm going to show that now. So let me see, where is it? Just to give you an example here, search for podcasts. So is there a podcast that you like?
Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay. We'd see if there's a podcast. This one is searching for the title of a podcast. Zimbabwe. I'm terrible at spelling, by the way. So here we found a few entrepreneur soundbook Zimbabwe. That looks interesting. So I click on that, and here is a podcast. It only looks like it's got 2 episodes. Let's look at African album review. This one's got more. Okay, so we like this one a bit better. It's actually, it's not saved yet. This is just, so let me just get rid of that page. Sorry. And we've got this African album review. Where am I? I need to log in. Actually, what I'll do is I'll bring that over to the site that we're writing on. So this new site that we created, I'm going to bring that tool in there. Hang on. Sorry, I'm going to just get back to where we were in a simpler sort of way. So this page here, I'm going to do again, search for podcast. Sorry, I'm just going to bring that over.
A small square and take it up to the page.
Except I've got to find out where it is. Where is it? Where did I put it? I've got so many sites open now, I can't find it.
No.
Huh. Where is it? Here? Yeah. So I'm just bringing this in here because I want it not on my place of work. So I've brought this page in from another site, and it has these tools which I can use to search for podcasts. So I'm going to search for Zimbabwe, probably spelt wrong. And we decided that we like this African album review. That's a nice podcast. I'm going to fork that page so that we have it here. I am going to play.
Yeah, Mom.
Interesting. I'm going to play this podcast. I don't know if you can hear it, but here's It's kind of cool. I quite like it. You can search now for, I don't know what's this? Wande Koal. Do you know this guy? Wande Koal. Any case, I don't know who he is, so I'm going to have a search Wande for the particular episode. And here's that individual episode. And I can now play the podcast. You can't probably hear it now, but it's coming in my headphones. So this is a tool for searching for podcasts, and then I can archive them here, organize it, maybe bring 2 or 3 together, a video together, share it with you, or if you wrote that, I would listen to it and say, oh, that's amazing. Add maybe some music or something I know here in London, and we start to work together around that material. So we have the whole world of podcasts, the whole world of Wikipedia, where we can start. And then the idea is we can pull out some of these sounds, and the new material we make, the new stories, we put in this way so that the recordings, the interviews, the voice, the musical riffs, the samples, the small video clips are all stored this way. And it'll be very quick for you to say, I like this, this, and this, and then bring it into your video editor, make something and put it out. And we start remixing and making this content this way. It's not just podcasts, it's also things like news. So I think here are some, like, here's something about, well, this is actually a podcast, but it's news. Here's a newspaper, The Guardian, and I can just drag in these stories. Here's local news, very simple, but again, I can drag those in. This is about some science stuff to do with coronavirus, local searches. So in other words, we can create a little community around a particular research topic of interest. It might be music, it might be environmental science, and create a couple of tools crafted to search for images, to search for podcasts, and search for news around that particular topic of interest, and then start to really bring that together. Different people in the community can be researching different aspects, and you now have your like producer team around the story. Someone might be researching the news, someone might be researching film, someone might be researching the environment or educational initiatives or new software or new games. And whatever the interest, we create these tools which make it easy to bring in the latest information from the outside world and share it to your audience and your local community. And choosing this topic around the World Climate School and around the topics that you expressed your passion and interest for as well, but also really starting to think creatively your own way. How can I bring music? How can I bring something that I know the people I care about are going to be really interested in, and weave that into the story? And I don't know that, but you know that, and then I can respond to that and say, oh, look what these guys are doing. If I start to research this or write about that, maybe there's a kind of, it's almost like jazz music we're playing together, but with storytelling and knowledge and information. Yeah. Excellent. And this is the way we work. So I hope that gives you an idea.
This is really a crash course.
Yeah. The practicalities of this are, it's not going to really work if it's just like me telling stories and showing things on Zoom. We need to work out how where you're now, that you can do the screen sharing, that you can log in, because you'll learn much more. For instance, now, if you just, if you tell me what equipment you have where you are, obviously, I like the fact that you're in your like a sitting room, so you're all sitting around. You've probably got the laptop on a table, and you're looking at the laptop together. Do you have a microphone attached to it, or are you just speaking into the computer? You're speaking to the computer. Yeah, I can lip read. That makes it, that's good, and you should be able to do screen sharing now. I turned it on so you can do screen sharing, and then you would be able to, we would see the screen, and you could be writing in this wiki, and you ask a question, and I say, oh no, you should do that. But the switching backwards and forwards between the screen sharing, it's kind of really cool if you get either headphones like this or a little microphone or something, so that you record your voice really well if you're doing production, but also so that we can hear more clearly. The sound is always the biggest problem, hearing the sound. So that's a bit of an expense to get the microphones and what have you. But we don't have to do it. You can start really like basically. And also when the idea we were working towards is, once we've got this sort of proposal for a new story or a thing, we can maybe do some crowdfunding campaign to raise, you know, like, I don't know, $5,000 to start the studio for a year's project. And then you have all the costs of the equipment, the cables, and sort of set up for, you know, joining. And we can start to work together to crowdfund to set up new studios in interesting parts of the world. So that is part of the overall idea of how we do this. But just practically, we need to set it up so that it's not like it's not just me or Inga Meta showing, but really we want you to be able to set it up, have your own site, start writing, sharing your voice and your video, and that would be the basis of the sprint. And we can do that now, or we can do that next session.
Next session.
There's a little bit of this annoying, tricky technical stuff where we need to get the setup a bit better. It's nice to see the internet connection is quite stable. And in the end, I'd say the last thing here, in the end, when we get good at that, we can do this in a way in which the internet connection is not so important, because you can write, research, record the video and audio without any internet, and then you just connect, share it, and then someone else, again without internet, they can do that, fork that, then start working offline when the connection's not very good, and then connect again. So the technology is designed, unlike Zoom, where you really have to have a good, high quality connection all the time. And if the sound goes, it can get very frustrating, in a way which is much more respectful of people's time and the situation they're in, which, you know, not everyone has every moment of the time really good internet. So that is also something that this kind of works with. Your local studio should work offline just as much as it works online.
I stop you, David, because it's getting 10 to 10, and I know that for sure Haig has a few questions and it's kind of overwhelmed with everything. But thank you so much, David. It's so exciting.
Mine is not really a question, but maybe just to say, what we're going to do is, from now on, we're going to create a Gantt chart where we're going to put a program outline of the things of interest that maybe we can start writing on, sharing on from this side.
Okay.
So that's the task for now. As much as you'll be learning this audio.
And are you going to put that on like paper on the wall, or how are you going to do this Gantt chart?
So what we're going to do is, I'll make sure maybe shape it through first in the group before we put it on a plan.
Yeah.
So
I think paper's good. It's not something which is like an instant fix. It's something where, to make it valuable, you know, you need to be empowered to be able to create your own site and your own knowledge. And so we need to practice doing that. And it's a bit like we're gonna need to sort of commit to each other to sort of like stay the course. And the value only comes at the end of, you know, a number of weeks of going through this. And because it's quite maybe an unusual vision to have this kind of decentralized studio production, it's quite, you have to be quite confident and clear that you want that thing to stay the course, right? And life in coronavirus and all of this has its own pressures, and maybe you just need to do something really directly, immediately commercial, or you have to fix the roof, the rain's coming in, or pay the rent, or whatever it is. And so the real problem here is to just figure out what your own timing is, and whether this is interesting enough for you to sort of learn how to do this and go on this journey together. That's what we're exploring here. And if that is the case for you, from my point of view, I'm really happy to join in that journey. I'm going on that journey myself for my own reasons, and I'm a little bit lonelier than I would like to be. If you're going on a journey, a similar one with your story, then that motivates me, and I'm really happy to spend some time sharing knowledge and experience on that journey together. But all I'm saying is, if your needs are more kind of immediate, and this particular vision of how we could work together in this strange wiki, how we could share video and production material, is a little bit, it's not very clear or very clearly enough of a reason and a motivation. There is this kind of you have to go through this process, and the benefits of the results in terms of, I don't know, getting a final film together or a website aren't there are maybe easier ways of getting there. For instance, you can just do normal video editing and get the movie on YouTube. It's really straightforward. This is much more about how do communities connect, research together, and do something new in that space. And therefore, I'm just saying a word of caution is you need to sort of think about that and say, yeah, no, we are motivated. Let's, like you say with the Gantt chart, let's plan this process. We want this result. You come forward and say, yeah, we would like to work on this for so many weeks. And then we can kind of do this barter and say, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Okay, I think one point, yes, it's a new thing. We understood the wiki before this federated wiki. So I also had the same question. What is the difference? Because I've seen the wiki before, and my experience was not that interesting. Because maybe there was a lot of type, a lot of word, no pictures, no videos. So it was a bit dull. But this one looks interactive. So I think it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. Quite exciting. Because the challenge, yeah, it's actually a learning process. Because you realize in the communities here in Zimbabwe, they are used to more of these video platforms like YouTube and all that. But now with the federated wiki incorporating the video aspect, it kind of brings them in the game.
Yes.
So
just say one thing on that, which I think is really super important and interesting, which is, I mentioned before that this wiki is really more like a production tool that you would use to make the video, and what have you. The other aspect of that is this software environment, this wiki, is also something we make together. And the way I would see it is that we're actually making a mobile application together. So every one of, let's say, this screen here is, I just get rid of these, is like that is the screen you're designing for a mobile application. And so the story, the videos, the text that you put in there and the functionality it is a mobile app we're designing together that maybe in a year's time, or maybe earlier, maybe in 6 months' time, would be a mobile application where people would use their cameras and their mobile directly. So it's when you use the word like wiki and website, you think it's just this static thing. But in fact, this is just a process of making together, and the end product should be very modern and very directly relevant to people who are not into writing on blogs and wikis and very academic. There's much more, how do you use the camera? How do you listen to the music? How do you tell your story with video and face-to-face? And how do we write and edit that together? And that's the future that we're looking at. We're not looking at just taking the old web on these big servers on laptops, but we're really looking at how we make stories together using the tools we have at hand. Just say that. So I'm a programmer. I make mobile applications. I'm not the best programmer in the world, but I know how to take this that we're doing, and we could make, and I could work with you to create a mobile application on Android and iOS that is your own music, your own story, you know? And everything we do in Wiki, all the writing, all the video, all the media, the way that it's laid out is like designed for that mobile application. I don't know how to communicate it as well, but yeah, I hope I did that job. It's just like, it's a bit like we're saying we're going to make a movie together, and we've got all these pieces. You know, Inga's got a van, you've got a camera, I've got a guitar, whatever, and you can't quite see the end of the film and the movie, but we know we're going to create this movie for the first time. And all the bits and pieces, whether it be how the studio works or how the wiki works, are just little parts of the toolkit that we can use to share to make that.
David and Haig, we are welcoming Summer from London as well, from the Institute of Learning Organization. Hi, Summer. We are just working with Zimbabwe on the wiki, the Green Wiki, to write together with Zimbabwe. And
good morning to you all. Good morning.
Good morning, Summer. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
Are you in touch with Bjarne, or should I try to phone him, Summer? What do you think?
I think, what's the time now? I think a couple more minutes, right? We're on the hour, right? At 10 CET.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think in a minute he should join us. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are really connecting to making a green studio in Zimbabwe together with Haig and Kuda, who you can see in the chair there with the red T-shirt, as a learning interaction between us in Norway and London, and to make a digital highway using mobile phones and multimedia in a dynamic way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our first meeting together, and yeah, we're just starting a 3-day sprint, I think, on how to write in Wiki together across these very different distances.
Yeah,
right.
So,
amazing what we can do.
Yeah, and Summer, also to put you in the field, since you're from the Middle East and Lebanon, the reason I've been working at the Library Alexandria in Egypt, and that icon 20 years as a new library for the digital time was really having a partnership with Zimbabwe at the time. So the black stone inside that beautiful building is from Zimbabwe, as a donation from Zimbabwe at the time. And Zimbabwe used to have a very efficient library structure in Africa.
Right.
One of the best. They had like buses for libraries and book libraries.
Very good.
And
so something to build on.
It's something to build on. And Summer is working on learning cultures, how to apply that in businesses and public sector together with civic society.
Very good. Very interesting thing that you're doing. And at the moment, it's a lot easier than previous decades for experimentation and quickly figuring out how to make it happen and how to make it work. So Bjarne, last time I wasn't able to join you, but Bjarne told me quite a bit about all the excitement that's going on, and yeah, this looks to be something for probably at least the medium term. Very exciting for us to probably find a new application for it within what we do, or see how we can bring it in to the area where we're active.
And Summer, if you allow me to push the context of conversation a bit, I know that you're based in Manchester, and you are working also with the hospitals and the National Health Service UK, and we haven't talked about this in this conversation, that David also is coming from that direction of the hospital sector. But right now we're talking about popular culture, but please stretch the pilots that you are explain a little bit of the pilots on hospital sector.
Yeah, in fact, we are approaching organizations, including people in the NHS who work on quality and culture transformation, and other companies. And at the moment, we're in quite a series of discussions around what we've done. And they are started actually to spend some time trialing the program and the support system that we've developed during the coronavirus. And this initial stage is to help us get more feedback from users. Here's Bjarne. Good morning to you, Bjarne.
Good morning.
Bjarne is from Norway, and my friends who you don't know, Bjarne is from Zimbabwe, and we've been talking about building a green studio, a learning studio in Zimbabwe, and how we can raise the funds for it, and how we can train to combine the wiki, the Green Wiki, together with the Green Studio, and work on music, global public culture, and democracy in a broader sense. So it's and Bjarne is coming as a founder for the Institute of Organizational Learning in Norway and works with Summer, and that's the context for next meeting. And
It was a good time having you guys. I enjoyed the session and I learned a lot.
All right, thank you, Brighton.
okay, see you then tomorrow, Haig, and we talk later.
All right.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Well.